All right, so this video is going to be a uh, like a tutorial on how to use your calculator to speed your way through the quadratic formula. And again, I'll tell you, the first few times you do this on your calculator, it will be slow and clumsy. But the more you do it, if you stick to it, you will get way faster at it. So let's say you were working out some problem. Maybe the problem looked like this. Like here's one angle, here's another angle, solve for x. So you got these two angles here. You know that they're the same, so you're going to set them equal to each other because vertical angles are congruent. So you set them equal to each other. It's got x squareds, x's, and units in it. And anytime you see that, you should think about using the quadratic formula, which says if you can get an equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, then you can use the quadratic formula to get x, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is what we're going to want to use right here. But first, we have to get the equation so that it equals 0. Well, it doesn't equal 0 yet, so we're going to subtract 4x from both sides and add 10 to both sides. So subtract 4x and add 10. And if we do that, then the next line will be 2x squared. And then when I bring the 4x over, I've got minus 9x total. And then I've added 10 equals 0. Now, if you're good at factoring, you can go ahead and try and factor that thing and solve it that way. But I'm going to use the calculator for this one. So in this problem, we've got an a, a b, and a c. Our a is the number in front of the x squared term, which is 2. Our b is the number in front of the x term, which is negative 9. And our c term is the units, which is 10. So now we're going to plug it into this thing. Okay. So before I do that on the calculator, whoops, I have to store, oh my goodness, I have to store these values right here. So the way to do it is I'm going to hit, first I'll store 2 as a. So I'm going to hit 2. And then this right here is the store button. So I'm going to hit STO arrow. And their little arrow appears up here. And then I want to choose the letter A. Now A is in green, so I'm going to hit alpha and then the green button and then A. And then hit enter. And I'll do the same thing for storing B as negative 9. So first, by the way, that's a negative 9, not a minus 9. This is the negative button down here in parentheses. So negative 9, store that as alpha B. Right, there's B in green. And then the last one, I'll store 10 as C. Okay, so I want to type in this, right? So in order to do that, I need a fraction symbol. And the fraction symbol is in this F1 menu right here. Notice it's in green, so I have to hit the green button and then the y equals button, which is turned into the F1 button now. And I've got n over d for numerator over denominator. So if I hit that, there it is. And then I'll type in, now you would say negative b, not minus b. So I got to hit the negative button there. So it's negative b. And then we'll do the plus version first. So plus. Square root is the blue symbol right there. So I hit the blue button and then the square root button. And then b squared, so alpha b. And if I hit this button right here, it says x squared. Then I get a little squared symbol up there. Whoops, I did it too many times. Let me fix that. B squared. And then minus 4ac. And then all that's over 2a. Now, the way that I went down was I just hit the down arrow. So there it is. That's typed in. That's the plus version of this quadratic formula. If I hit enter, there's one of my answers. So I know x is 5 over 2 or 2.5. Or I got to do the minus version. You can type in that whole thing again with a minus right there. Or you can just scroll up until it's highlighted, hit enter, and it cuts and pastes it. and then you can just go back and edit the one thing that you need to change, which is turn that plus into a minus, and hit enter. And the other answer is 2. Okay. So then you might check them depending on the problem. Now, I made up this problem. It turns out, for the problem I made up, neither answer actually works. If you plug in 2 here, you get a negative angle. And if you plug in 5/2, you end up with 0, which also doesn't make sense for the angle. But the whole point is really, it's not to worry about that diagram. It's just to worry what happens if you have a problem and you can turn it into ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, how to use the calculator to help. So I hope that helped a little bit. And feel free to use this whenever you kind of get stuck on how to use your calculator to do the storing the variables and entering in the fraction. Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon.